Good morning, everyone. This is Lindy. So, last night was exciting. I want to do an update on last night because of all the comments. I would have anyway, but there was a fight outside my van. Some sort of a fight, lots of yelling and screaming. They could be heard all over because it's late at night. It happened, I think, maybe at 9:30. So, I did get into the front. I did try to lower part of things, look around me. This side of me, the right side of me, is where it was happening. And I didn't want anyone to know I was in that van. The reason is they could so easily turn their anger on you. Because maybe they're embarrassed, who knows. But I do believe they could turn their anger on you. So I wasn't ready. I would have to pull everything down to see. And I wasn't ready to do that and to move because I felt it was a risky thing to do at that point. When I am placed into a scenario like this, I do not take the emotional road. I am non-emotional in these kinds of things. Afterwards, I fall apart. But I don't believe in becoming emotional and upset when you're having something happen, because you could create a scenario where if you emotionally overreact, you could have yourself killed. So you can't react. You have to think. I've said this before. I've been in incidents before. You have to think before you react. So when I heard the pounding, this fight stopped, and I heard the one guy saying, "I can prove it, I can prove it, I can tell you, I can prove it." And within a few minutes, everything was silent. So whatever proof he had must have satisfied the other person. I only think there were two people out there. I don't know if one was a woman or not because one was so loud and one was so quiet. So I'm going to think maybe it was a woman. I'm just not sure. I'm guessing, and I hate to just guess. But I think it was maybe 15, 20 minutes later. This went on for quite a while. So it wasn't like a quick yelling and screaming match. And they did shake the van once, which I think somebody was shoved up against the van. Again, I'm sitting in the front seat at that point with my keys in the ignition, ready to just grab one side and just take off, whether I can see the sides or not. I was going to take off, but I just waited. I'm thinking, oh, wow, that was something. They didn't know I was in the van. They did not know I was in this van. And there is a weed shop it's still open till 10. And many people get their marijuana and then for some reason, they act up. But neither here nor there. So, when the beating started, and I said baton last night, but I looked at my van, there's no dents. I don't know what he used. I know he didn't use his hand. I honestly don't know what he used or maybe it's my imagination because it was so loud inside the van. It was so loud, and he didn't do it once. He did it 5 or 6 times going down the side of the van. Get up, get up, come out of the van, come out of the van. Who's in the van? Who's in the van? And I'm like yelling, I'm in the van. Who else is in the van? Just me and my dog. Well, this is the police. I said, prove it. Because I'm not opening that door for we just had a fight. This could be someone just saying they're police, and it could be one of these two men who realized someone was in that van, and now they're back to rob me. I don't know. So I'm not blindly believing anybody about anything. just the nature of my mind. So I had just sat on the bed. I was dressed, because I was waiting. When one incident happens, I wait. I wait. There's been other incidents. Police have never been involved, but I've waited it out, and they just take off. There have been other yelling matches and fights outside my van. So, and in several different places, not just one. So, he's telling me, get out of the van. I'm like, no, I'm not coming out of this van until you show me you're a policeman. And in the meantime, I'm coming up front and I'm taking the side part down, the reflectix down off my window so I can see outside. I said, come to the window. Well, he wouldn't come to the window. I said, I'm not opening this van till I see you. I told them like 3 or 4 times. And finally, I'm looking out, and he can see I'm there. Make sure he can see me. And he takes his flashlight and puts it over his head so I can see him. He goes, can you see me? And I said, yes, I can see you, and I'll be out in just a second. So I'm dressed, so I just need to put my shoes on, and I block that door with stuff at night, so I unblock it. Because if somebody breaks in, they're going to have a heck of a time getting in through that door. I do not have any windows except the 2 front side windows and my dash, whatever. Window, whatever. The front window. Anyway, so I said, I'm coming out. I open up the door, and he sees I'm moving stuff out of the way. I grab my cane. Number 1, it's a defense issue. And number 2, I want him to know I'm elderly. And number 3, I want it to hold me up. So I get out. He goes, no one's in that van. And as I'm saying that, here comes Marley. Jumping out of the van, running towards me. I'm like, Marley, no, come back. And she immediately stops, turns around, and gets back in the van, and then sits there and barks. I'm like, no, Marley, stop, Marley. And I'm dealing with her, and he's looking at me like, okay. And there's another cop right over a little ways, right by the edge of my van at the back. So I talked to him for a few minutes, and he goes, well, we're here to check. Somebody from the gas station, and there's a Popeyes there as well, called us and said there's a big fight going on, and it was at your van. And I said it was. And then I explained what happened. And they go, you didn't move? And I go, well, I was afraid. I didn't want them to know I was in the van. I didn't want the violence to turn towards me. So I was sitting here waiting to see if I should put the key in and just take off. And I don't know what all he said. Well, I need to see you. And I had sleeveless shirt on. He said, I need to see your arms. Do you have any bruises? Are you bleeding? Are you hurt? And I said, no, I'm not hurt. I said, I was in the van the whole time. I'm just scared. I was just scared. And he said, okay, well, we just want to make sure you're physically okay. No one's in that van with you. No one's threatening you, that you're all right. And I said, yeah, I am. Do you want to see my ID? And he goes, no, we know who you are. We're just checking on you to make sure nothing has happened to you. And that's why we wanted you out of the van. We want to make sure you're safe. And I said, well, thank you very much. I am. And thank you for coming by. And they left. That was the end of it. Now, then the emotional part comes in. Then I start shaking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how ridiculous. I'm going to say this. My son just retired from the police force. Not the police force, the sheriff, whatever. Law enforcement. I trust law enforcement, but I don't blindly trust law enforcement. Because you don't know if someone's pretending to be a cop or not. You have to ask for identification. I have a right to see identification before I follow your commands. I don't mind getting out of the van. After I understood the reason why, I was fine with that. I was shaking because the whole scenario had been going on for almost an hour, the fright and then the police, and I was already a little nervous, so they did nothing wrong as far as I'm concerned. The way they were talking to me, they were loud on the van because they wanted to shake up the person if somebody was in here bothering me. So I did not take offense to what was being done. I am a believer in the law enforcement. I know there's bad apples in everything, and it's sad that the good guys who are really trying to help you get blamed for everything that goes wrong. And nobody seems to look at themselves and say, could I be better? They see things in our society we will never see in a lifetime. They have to put up with the worst of the worst. And I have sympathy for them because they're judged constantly for any little minute detail of anything. So I do have respect for the men in blue, and I will continue to do so. I also know who called them. And after I did my video and I sat here, I'm like, who would have called them? Well, I know. Because in the last few months, I break all the rules. I told you, I break all the rules. I park in the same spot every night. I park during the day in a lot of my favorite spots. Always the same spots. The police know where to find me. Everybody knows where to find me if they want. But I worked at Walmart. And the guy who works on the night shift, one of them, he works 5 nights a week, knows me from Walmart. And we're kind of friends. We talk. I go in. How are you? Blah, blah, blah. I sometimes just go in to talk to him. A lot of times I go in to buy a little Popeyes, I want to give them some of my money. I might buy a Coke or an ice cream or a bag of potato chips, something, And we talk every time I go in. So I know exactly who did it. I think I do. Maybe I don't. So I will be going tonight to talk to him if he's working, just to see. But the night shift is not the same as the day shift, so there's no sense in me going during the day. But I will go at night. And all the night shift knows me. Everybody knows me. And they know I'm back behind them. I told you before, literally the manager of this place pretended that he was looking for somebody else, and he came and, oh, I thought you were so-and-so. I said, no, you didn't. You were just checking out who was in this van. He goes, yeah, I was, kind of. And that was it. That was the end of it. So everybody on this street, which is a business street, know who I am. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that they called the police. I never thought to call them. I live in a van, So I never thought to call the police. I thought it's over, it's done with, that's it. And what could they have done once they left? So yeah, and I don't think to grab my phone because that's a distraction. Then you can't think. Now you're trying to turn on a phone and try to record things. I will never do that. I need all of my alertness. I need to be alert and aware and forget about this phone business. And I'm a YouTuber. It would be nice if I could remember, but no. I'm dealing with what's happening in that instant. Maybe one of these days I'll catch some of this action. I don't really want more action, to be honest with you. I want to leave it just like it is. Because that's the first time in 2 years. And it was a little excitement. My 76th birthday, yeah. Happened on my birthday. Ended my night. But that's okay. I'm not upset today. I was just shaken and very emotional after it happened, but I never get emotional during the time. It's just not a good thing, guys. So, I appreciate all the comments, but please don't blame the police. No. They thought they were doing the right thing, and I did the right thing for my own safety to make sure they were police. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Camo.